Hey everybody, welcome to the Monday morning meeting. We are the Insurance Brothers.
I'm Andy.
I am Ryan.
Yes.
Of course, you know us already. You follow IB, and we love you for that. We have a very special guest today. This is one of our most anticipated episodes that we've shot thus far. Our friend and business associate, Tyler Kemp from Venture Tactics is here to talk about his take on social media marketing, really touch on the Omnipresence program that he's created. He just has a lot of good opinions that are so relevant to today's marketing opportunities, I would say.
Yeah.
You're all about Gary Vee talking about, you got to capitalize on LinkedIn. You have to capitalize on Twitter, Facebook. That's all great, and it all makes sense, but how do I do that?
Right? And he's taking a perspective that no one thinks about, and he puts it into a very honest and legitimate way for you to understand.
Yeah.
Because no one really gets how to get to that end.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
So I want to crush it on LinkedIn, but
exactly.
how do I do it?
Exactly. So we've taken a lot of his education and his program into definitely, and we are in on this, and we're all in, right? So, and we love what he has to bring to the table today. So let's just kick it off. What do you think is probably the biggest piece that people are missing out on with their digital marketing, their making sure they're in front of people often, and that persistency that it takes?
Yeah, well, so we're all salespeople here. You might be a salesperson as well, and I think that it really comes down to a few issues that make it so hard to consistently sell and hit those goals. And I think in the back of our mind, even if other people look at us and they're like, "Wow, you've really made it. You're doing this." I think a lot of salespeople, they look at their own bank account,
right,
and they're like,
it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel like I've made it where I want to be, because every time you hit that goal, you're like, I want to be here now.
Because we equate it to a financial success, right?
Exactly.
If I get to level A, I'm going to make this much money, right?
Yeah. And
work that way.
And so what happens in business is, in order to hit these goals, you need predictability. Right. So and that's kind of what our program was built around. And helping people kind of get out of that hustle mode,
right?
Or that hustle hamster wheel, which is something we often talk about.
Hashtag hustle hamster wheel.
Hashtag hustle
a good one,
hamster
by the
wheel.
way.
And how to get to that next level.
Yeah. So I know you talk a lot about failures that salespeople make, right? That they experience, and I know you always talk about two in particular. So talk about those two failures that you see salespeople make when it comes to their marketing strategies.
Sure. So what does it mean to be kind of stuck there?
Yeah.
The two big things that salespeople really struggle with is one, usually generating leads, and two, following up with those prospects, right? I mean, the first issue isn't even part of the problem is that when you're active and you're like, okay, today's Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going for it.
I'm fired up.
I'm fired up.
Of coffee. I'm ready to rock and roll
until it hits 2 p.m. and all of a sudden you're like either way too busy. Yeah. You're like, I'm just tired now. I'm gonna take a break.
The ideas have lost. They've left your head.
And so
all over.
It just it comes down. If your business is reliant on your discipline, your own personal ability to just be always like a laser beam, right. I think in reality what happens is we're just not that focused.
Sure.
We're not built to be always on.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
It's not. But what is possible is to be able to have the outcome,
right,
the result of that without always the input.
Right.
So that's, I think, the goal is to say, how do I get consistency in my business,
right,
without always having to be consistent.
Right. That makes sense.
And so
people really fail at channeling their on energy, call it, right? When I'm on, they have a problem making that happen 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, because that's just not relevant. But they want the results that would come from that.
Exactly. Right? Because if you're not consistent, you're not.
There's no point. Yeah.
Your competition's leading you always.
We talk about that all the time when people are inconsistent with any marketing strategy. You build something up and then it fails or it dwindles, right? And then you got to build it back up again and then it dwindles again. And we see this boat rock back and forth with salespeople that can never really figure out how to create a consistent and stable business built on consistency, right? And so that's the goal.
Yeah, and so that's the first problem, right? Again, that lead generation. How do I prospect and not get distracted with operations, not get distracted with fatigue? And the other side is lead nurturing. We all know the fortune is in the follow-up, and we kind of say that like, oh, I know that, right? I
crush the follow-up.
I always crush except we don't. And so when we do generate a lead, right? That's kind of the other problem I often see is when a business has leads, they have relationships, but they're not able to get people across the finish line because it takes too long sometimes, or it's just there's not enough of the basics, which is that know, like, trust relationship.
You've actually helped me understand the value in building a brand and a stigma about yourself that attracts people to you, right? Because you shouldn't always be the salesperson that's in attack mode, right? I'm always attacking. I'm a shark. I'm out and about. I'm swimming. You don't always have to be that person. And if you utilize what you're saying effectively, or even semi-effectively, you start attracting clients and you start attracting referral partners that want to work with you just based on the reality that you've put in front of them.
The At some point, you're going to be that center of influence, that person the authority figure that you've been trying to accomplish the whole time. It's going to happen naturally. It's going to happen without you even realizing it because you've been doing it so consistently and well done. Right?
Well, and what's important to remember too is that we all live, it's something I call the bubble effect. So we all live in our own little bubble. You see your Facebook newsfeed and you see your LinkedIn feed and your YouTube feed. But the guy next to you actually has a completely different
you're a ghost for that person.
If you are a big deal in the news feed of your prospect, and they're seeing you every day like clockwork, is where we kind of came up with this omnipresence idea, right? Why our program is called the Omnipresence Engine is because the average salesperson does not have enough money to be in front of everybody. We can't be.
Nor do you want to be.
No, you can't, right? You can't be, we just don't have the budgets to own all of America.
You're not going to be the McDonald's of whatever industry.
Can't do it.
A single person, nor do you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. But what you can do is own the attention of a smaller group of people, build an audience, and of those people, be consistent. We like to say there's what we call it the FIRE formula, right? Where if you're frequent and you're intimate and you're relevant and you're efficient together, frequency, intimacy, relevancy, and efficiency. That is the FIRE formula that we created. When all of these happen together, it causes a chain reaction of growth that we call the ignition effect. So, and it's basically like a combustion engine, how one little ignition, all of a sudden goes dun, 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 a bunch of chain reactions that creates an engine.
Right.
So that was kind of the idea is how do we take normal, average salespeople who are great at what they do, but they're not.
Nobody knows it.
No one knows who they are.
Knows that you're good at what you do.
And how do we get them from relying on networking events
and the cold calls?
And the calls.
Oh my God.
And I mean that was one of the reasons the time it takes. The reasons we even are doing. That's why I'm doing this right now is because I used to train and coach and teach salespeople when we would travel around and teach seminars on video marketing and social media marketing and all kinds of things around the country.
That still weren't doing it, right?
And they weren't doing it.
So it was all for nothing anyway.
Exactly. So I had to figure out how can we make these results happen for people without adding more hours to their work week?
So I kind of see twofold. It's growing your network on whatever social media you're focusing on, right? Growing your market or building your audience. Build your audience. And then making sure that you're providing them content that's relevant and interesting and engaging, right? So that they start seeing that all the time and they become, interested and they almost look forward to it. It's like, yes, the Insurance Brothers put out another video. I'm all over it, man. I was waiting for this Monday.
Gosh, we hear that every weekend, right? We want to be motivating, educational. We want to make sure we're giving something that you want to tune into every single week. So we just keep doing it.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So Tyler, let's quantify this, right? So there's so many social medias, right? You got Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and LinkedIn and now TikTok. Like, everybody's doing TikTok now. How does someone start? Because you're not going to attack the whole bear.
No.
Right?
Well, and so here's what you face is a budget issue. Right. It's not that you can't invest everywhere. It's that you probably can't invest everywhere, right? Because of your budget.
Right.
And the other issue is I see too many people going wide and not deep.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
you've even had to figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So our program initially, I mean, we literally were doing everything.
Yeah.
I mean, when we kind of started, it was like
full menu.
Absolutely everything necessary to build an effective marketing funnel. And that's because my career was early on really built off of Facebook advertising.
Right.
And in order to get that to work, you have to have the appropriate landing pages. You have to have the right ads, and you have to retarget at the right. We would have super robust, complex mechanics that were all geared around trying to convert that one person from a cold relationship into a close deal.
We had to trim the fat a little bit.
We had to trim the fat because
where you need to be.
it's too expensive for most people. And it's not that you have to trim the fat if you're working with some people, but I just have seen so much success in the small business, B2B salesperson niche. There's so many great salespeople that need the ability to take that to the next level and build predictability.
They're not going to drop 10 G's a month to do it.
You can't do it. Exactly. Yeah. So to answer your question is, how do you dial in the platform?
Sure.
I would say if you're like selling an e-commerce product, okay, and your goal is to get more people drinking your soda, Instagram is completely where it's at, right? I mean, that's awesome. Instagram is growing. It's great. But I'll tell you that over the last maybe 6 months, what I found is if you're a B2B sales professional, what we were doing on LinkedIn literally outperformed everything we were doing on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube combined.
Yeah.
And the best part is, I mean, you guys have experienced this because we're all working together.
Yeah.
And so how does that work is the question. How do you crack the LinkedIn code without breaking the bank?
But it makes sense because you're looking at your audience and your product, right? Am I geared toward businesses or am I geared toward
smart
consumer, a normal consumer? And so that makes sense.
So you got to be selective with what's working best for you. We've recognized that in the business world, LinkedIn is going to be the most effective for what we're trying to accomplish. And when we can be the authority figure in our craft, it doesn't really matter what industry we're talking about. People want to listen because admittedly, they're going to get something out of it, whatever they're doing. So we've been able to say, let's hammer home at that activity. Let's make sure we're doing something that's valuable for the audience. And at the end of the day, it's going to bring return for everyone. It doesn't matter if it's you, me, or anyone in that, right? So.
And I honestly saw that, because I used to work with a startup that was doing really, really well. And the CEO and I got to spend some time together, and I got to watch actually firsthand how he was using LinkedIn for sales. Right. And he would sit me down and he's like, dude, check this out. He's like, just absorb this for a minute. It's like, just absorb this. And he would be like, tinkering around. He's like, see what I'm doing right now? It's like, boom. I just connected with this executive at this company. Right. And here's how I'm doing my research on this. And I learned how it was like a light bulb turned on. Right. And I learned a statistic later on, which is that 80% of B2B sales leads actually come from LinkedIn. Right. So what we
leads and referral partners.
Leads and referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. More so in the referral partner side.
Exactly. And so how do you? So I got to kind of see, well, how was he doing this? How was he generating real life relationships online?
Right.
Right. I mean, that's what we want to all do. Is like we don't care about the email we get from a click.
Right.
We want a relationship.
Yeah. Without having to drive across town to get it.
Exactly. And so that's kind of the core of our program is bringing it. We do really three things. We prospect on LinkedIn. Yep. So we take off that laborious, monotonous.
Yeah, connect.
Exactly. Connect. I mean, and get just the numbers down. We handle that so that we reach out to about 30 to 50 people every single day. And then we message them right over the course of 30 days to see if they're interested in a phone call. And whether they are or are not, that is where we tackle that other problem, which is the nurturing. How do you build trust
and engage them?
Because we realized that, you kind of brought this to light for me. You go networking and you're in a big room with a bunch of people, you're handing out cards. What happens after you leave that building?
Yeah, probably 90% of people just say, oh, that was a fun event.
Probably nothing. Well, hopefully when you do it right in this program, you're going to connect with those people and you're going to get in front of all of them. They're all going to get your stuff. And over the course of the next month or two, you're going to be in communication with them one way or another, whether it's through a post, whether it's through a message, whether, a nurture campaign, whatnot. So it's often going to bring back some result and way better result than it would be if you were just at that networking event, passing out a couple of cards and did nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, again, what the goal of any good, in order to become an authority in your niche, which is what we all want. It's what we all.
That's why we're in the business. If you don't want to be an authority figure in your field, you're in the wrong field.
In order to be the big fish in the small pond, you have to be consistent. You've got to be there every single day, like clockwork. And so, for us, we provide a way for people to get that without having to do it themselves. To be consistent every single day in all these ways, we post on social media for them, we create their content every single day, we write articles for them to help them establish more credibility. All of these things in order to, one, gain reach organically and not have to, you can say, well, I've got X amount of dollars in ad spend.
Right.
Or what we're finding is if you can build an audience on LinkedIn, the organic reach is so ridiculously high right now that if you are creating content on a regular basis, you will start to build these relationships kind of on autopilot without even having to lift a finger. It just takes an investment.
Right. And I like the approach with your program. Of what I've found is the automatic feature is fantastic. I like to then go in and post some of my own stuff just kind of off the cuff, right? Because it creates more of a now type personal feel with my content. So not only do I have the omnipresence content running, but I also have my own in the heat of the moment content, right? Where I'm like, oh man, that was great. I'm going to shoot a quick video on it, or I'm going to create a quick post on it. And that's how you engage people on a regular basis. In addition, what I found on LinkedIn is if you're not engaging in other people's content, your content gets shown less. So one nuance of LinkedIn that you need to understand is you need to be engaging, and what that means is commenting on other people's content, hopefully content that is trending, right? Or that gets a lot of looks, gets a lot of
it helps you
other people commenting. So that's something you need to realize. Your engagement will go down if you are not engaging in other people's stuff.
It's not
so
a one-sided.
No, it's not. You can't just throw your stuff up and everybody's gonna love it.
It's called social media for a reason.
Right. Sure. Yep. Absolutely. So as much as it is a get it and forget it, it's not a get it and forget it. You have to understand that this is just a piece of what you need to do, but you also have to be engaged. But it takes so much off your plate on a daily basis from the stuff that is just a waste of time, so that you can channel your thoughts and energy and, building your brand on stuff that you like to do, which is shooting the videos based on your opinions and what you offer, and, creating the content and doing the fun stuff that we like to do.
Right. And what's working, it's just so hard to do the right things. And as salespeople, again, you might feel this way too. If you're watching this, like, you might not feel techie. You might not feel like, oh, I don't get social media, or you might feel like, oh, I'm the social media whiz. But even still, even if you are doing things yourself, there are revenue generating activities that you don't have to do that are going to produce revenue. And how much marketing spend do we completely waste on things that don't?
Produce.
So that's the goal.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on a lot of awesome points. I think I want to dive into this further as we get into more episodes, because it's just so deep, right?
There's so much more that we can do.
I love your FIRE formula.
I want to, and that's, and if you want to learn more about that, you can go to thefireformula.com.
And follow Tyler on LinkedIn as well.
Connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll see kind of omnipresence in effect.
Yeah.
What's it like to be on your newsfeed?
We're using it. So, Tyler, if you could leave the IB viewers with one piece of advice today that they can implement today,
Let's
What
call
is
it
it, man? I'm
on
putting you on the
LinkedIn since
spot.
we're doing this on
What is
LinkedIn.
it? What's that secret sauce that people can utilize today? Let's just get started. Just get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I would say this. I think this is the secret. The secret to really good digital sales success is don't play the short game. Don't play the short game.
Yeah.
I think that I was reading a quote by Gary Vaynerchuk
Which are always
the other day, which I'm always watching something.
Yeah, mind blowing.
But he said, and I kind of even posted about it, he said 99% of salespeople are not playing the long game.
Right.
And the 1% that are always win.
Right.
And he's like, if you're not planning on dying tomorrow, why aren't you playing the long game?
See it through. You put something into place for a reason. Make sure it happens over the long haul. You're not just cutting it.
And isn't that what salespeople do all the time? They play the short game. They have success for 3 weeks. They stop doing it, and then it dies. And then they do it again for another 3 weeks, and then it dies.
Because how much?
That's why you don't have success.
And I think there's like this perception where it's like, if I'm not like, you could be posting every day on social media, and you'll be thinking to yourself, man, I didn't get a sale from this week. Why is this working?
It's not working.
Well, it's not working.
It's not working.
But
waste of time.
But this is our motto. Our tagline is own attention, own the market. Attention is the new currency. Okay.
Nice.
So if you are not able to capture, if you're not investing in capturing and retaining people's attention, then you are literally wasting your time. You're wasting your efforts because you're going to be on that hustle hamster wheel where you're up here today, you're down here tomorrow because
it's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
And you're starting over.
You're stuck. You're starting over from zero every month. And instead of that, find ways to build predictability into your business. Just do the things you're supposed to do. You need to do, and do it every single day for the next 5 years.
Right. And then see what happens.
And don't give up.
And then come talk to the IB brothers and Tyler Kemp.
And then find out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll take a cut. We'll take a commission.
Good
Grow
stuff.
your audience.
Good stuff. We really appreciate your time. This is going to be a continuing thing having you in. So
we'll have Tyler Kemp on future episodes. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to comment in the thread and message us. Get with Tyler. He loves to help. We hope this helps you find success in your business and maybe quantifies a little bit more how you can start doing social media without feeling overwhelmed.
Let me know what your biggest struggle or hurdle with LinkedIn or social media advertising is in the comments below.
Don't be shy. Everyone's going through the same stuff.
I will literally, if you're watching this, I will get on the phone with you and we will have a strategy call for 15 minutes and we will see if some things on LinkedIn, like what will work for your business. I'd be happy to talk with you about it.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, everybody have a really successful week. We appreciate you watching. Next week will be a great episode as well. I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, but you're going to love it. So we will see you next Monday, and we hope to hear from you in the meantime. Thanks, guys.
Happy Monday, guys.
See ya.